Welcome to PGTV News. Here are our top stories. Space heaters cause fires. Do you currently own one? Well, if so, stay tuned to find out if the one you have is a fire hazard.
Florida Polytechnic students and Google, their connection and what the future holds for this special partnership.
Hello and welcome to PGTV News. I'm Stephen Barnes.
And I am Tina Mann. Do you have a space heater? Is it the right one? Recently, a West Lakeland family lost their home to a space heater fire. Thankfully, they escaped without any injuries. Sherry McCullough caught up with Polk County Fire Rescue's Public Information Officer, Chris Keir, to discuss space heater safety.
If you plan on using a space heater this winter, you need to keep a few important points in mind. Chris Keir of Polk County Fire Rescue joins us now. Chris, what are some things that people in Polk County need to look out for?
Well, the first one is a pretty general one, and that's to make sure you have smoke alarms installed on every floor of your home. Outside all sleeping areas, and make sure you test them once a month because you don't want the batteries to run out and them not to work.
So tell us, how do we inspect heaters to make sure they're safe?
So you want to inspect them for cracks or broken plugs, loose connections, and you want to do this before each use. If the wire is frayed, worn, or damaged, you don't want to use it. You want to go get a new one.
What about leaving our heaters unattended?
You definitely don't want to do that. You don't want to leave them unattended, and you want to make sure when you leave a room you turn them off. If you're going to sleep or you don't want to, you want to make sure that you can keep an eye on it at every point in time. Also, you want to keep kids and pets away from it.
Oh, certainly. Well, space heaters are meant to provide what, supplemental heat only?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be using a space heater to, warm a blanket or cook your food on. It's just meant to provide heat in the general area. And again, like I said, you want to make sure it's clear of everything.
And tell us, what about the placement of heaters? Where should we place those heaters in our homes?
Well, you want to keep them at least 3 feet away from anything that could possibly be flammable or burn, including papers, rugs, any kind of wood furniture, that kind of stuff.
So you want to kind of keep them away from high traffic areas?
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to put a space heater in the middle of a hallway where people are going to be moving back and forth. Not only do they have a risk of bumping into it and burning themselves, but it also run the risk of bumping that heater into the wall where it could catch fire.
Certainly. So why is it important to plug the heater directly into the wall and not into a power strip?
Well, sometimes you can overload a power strip and then it becomes a fire hazard. And you want to make sure it's in a dedicated plug for itself because it draws a lot of energy.
So Chris, where would you recommend placing these space heaters?
So you definitely want to place your space heater on a flat, level surface, and never place the heater near cabinets, tables, furniture, or carpet. Anything can overturn it and lead to fire. Finally, when you're done using it, you want to unplug it, let it cool down completely before storing it.
Well, Chris, thanks for these tips today, and stay safe, Polk County.
Well, we don't need them often, but it's important when we use them to make sure they're working right.
Absolutely, and I know that mine has a safety that if mine gets tipped over at all or even jarred a little bit, it stops working. So
it's also a good idea if you happen to have GFI receptacles and things like that. You can plug them in there too. But
exactly.
Thanks for the tips, Chris. And coming up in Lakeland is the Sun and Fun next year, I guess it would be. And when do they do that? March, April?
In April.
April. Well, in order to get ready for it, the Blue Angels were here this week. The Blue Angels advance team came to discuss their upcoming performance at Sun and Fun. The advance team flew to Lakeland Linder Airport to meet with the Sun and Fun staff and answer questions from students who attend the Central Florida Aerospace Academy. We spoke with events coordinator, Lieutenant Commander Adam Carrick, who expressed his excitement for Sun and Fun and his hopes to inspire future aviators.
It's neat to come here. I know you guys have a school here on the field, so it's great to reach out to our youth and inspire them to think about something bigger than themselves, whether that's aviation or a service to the country.
Sun and Fun's always a huge event here, and I remember when I used to work at Publix, I would be able to see the Blue Angels fly over.
Oh, and they shake the earth.
They really do, and it's such an amazing show.
I'll tell you, when there was a couple years back, we had some budget cuts in the government, and they weren't able to come, and it was such a disappointment. But it's nice when they can make it and
I'm glad
put
they're
on a
coming
show.
back. The Office of the Inspector General would like residents to be aware of Social Security Administration telephone impersonators. Acting Inspector General of Social Security Gail Stallworth Stone said the impersonators are making threatening phone calls to residents. Ms. Stone indicates that this is a scam and residents should not engage with these callers or provide any personal information. If you already have ongoing business with the Social Security Administration, continuing your business with them over the phone is not an issue. If you would like to report suspicious phone calls from the Social Security Administration, please call 1-800-269-0271.
Yeah, it's a real target area for scammers because usually when you're dealing with Social Security, it's complex enough as it is.
Right.
People don't really fully understand it. It's an easy place to trip people up and trick them.
Right, and most people who have dealings with Social Security tend to be the elderly or the disabled.
Yep.
So they're particularly, at risk.
Yeah.
And they always tell you that even if you are doing business with them, if you feel more safe, you can call directly into
Yeah.
their line.
Yeah, it's always good to call the Social Security number rather than accepting a call.
Correct.
You can always hang up and call them directly. Perfect. Well, the Polk County Clerk of Courts is also warning residents about scams, telling them they have to pay a fee for missing jury duty. Clerk of Court Stacy Butterfield said scammers typically impersonate county clerks' employees or other government officials and demand payment and personal information, while stating the missing juror could face jail time if the fee requested is not paid. Ms. Butterfield wants to remind residents that all jury summons are sent through the mail, not by email or by telephone. Also, remember that the clerk's office will never ask for payment if a resident misses jury duty. Ms. Butterfield wants residents to be aware of these scams and not to be intimidated. If you have questions or believe you may have jury duty, please call 863-534-4568 or 534-4569.
It's important to note here that pretty much never give your personal information over the phone.
If you have any doubt at all, just don't do it.
Right,
Just
and
don't do it.
call them directly and say, is this something you're doing? Residents in Haines City will soon see an increase in their water and sewer bill. The 12% increase will take effect in January. According to Haines City's Office of Management and Budget Director, Shantavia Connor, the city has suffered a $2 million shortage, which reflects 19% of current revenues. Some of Haines City's residents believe the increase will be tough on residents who live on Social Security. One local business owner suggested that those who use more water should pay more, and those who use less water should pay less. City commissioners said that the water bill increase will apply to all Haines City water customers, not just a few.
It's always tough when we see like these rate hikes in a big jump, but you've got to understand they come in a big jump because they haven't been gradually increased over the years.
Right.
And I doubt that they're trying to make it difficult on anyone. They're just trying to
Right, and
get things caught up.
just get things caught up and also raise people's awareness on how much water they're actually using.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. When you start getting paid for more water you use a lot less, that's for sure. Well, in Mulberry, Habitat for Humanity will be building a tiny home community for veterans. The name of the community will be Fleming Platoon, named after Lamar Fleming, a Polk County native and a World War II veteran who served in the Army Air Corps. After his military service, Lamar Fleming served as a teacher, principal, and administrator in the Polk County School District. Construction on Fleming's platoon is scheduled to begin in March 2019. Habitat for Humanity is looking to raise $3 million to complete the project. Veterans who are 55 and over and have a limited income may apply to be a resident. The City of Mulberry is offering to help by annexing the property. Officials from Habitat for Humanity hope the City of Mulberry will pitch in to cover the cost of infrastructure and development. And Mulberry's Mayor George Hatch said the City of Mulberry is happy about the Veterans Project and believes it will happen.
This is pretty cool, and it's really serving a great need here in the community for veterans. And you gotta love the tiny home movement.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Well, the Frostproof High School Choir recently visited the White House and sang Christmas music to guests of President Trump and his wife. Over the summer, a parent suggested that the choir apply to perform at the White House, and in October, the choir learned that they were chosen to perform. The Frostproof High School Choir received a $20,000 grant to help with their expenses, and they raised an additional $5,000 by performing at churches and local events. Jonathan Carter, director of the Frostproof High Choir, said the White House performance was yet another opportunity for the school to make its mark at one of the nation's most prestigious venues. In June 2017, the Frostproof High School Choir performed in New York City's Carnegie Hall as part of the National Festival Chorus.
That's pretty cool. High honors for the choir team.
And it's such a small community, but I've seen performances by them over the last 3 or 4 years, and they're really good.
Yeah, it's a testament to what can be done when you work hard and you really put your best foot forward. Christmas is fast approaching. Don't know if you noticed that or not, Tina.
I have.
Here's Polk County Fire Rescue Public Information Officer Chris John Keir again with tips to keep you safe this holiday season.
Hi, I'm Chris John Keir. A trip to the hospital or a fire can ruin anyone's holiday season. Here are some safety tips from Polk County Fire Rescue to keep you safe this holiday season. Inspect electrical decorations for damage before use. Cracked or damaged sockets, loose or bare wires, and loose connections may cause a serious shock or start a fire. Do not overload electrical outlets. Overloaded electrical outlets and faulty wires are a common cause for holiday fires. Never connect more than 3 strings of lights. More than 3 strings may not only blow a fuse, but can also cause a fire. Keep your Christmas tree fresh by watering it daily. Dry trees are a serious fire hazard. Use battery-operated candles. Candles start almost half of home fires during the holidays. Keep combustibles at least 3 feet from a heat source. Decorations that were too close to heat sources were the main cause in most fires. Protect cords from damage. To avoid shock or fire hazards, cords should never be pinched by furniture, forced into small spaces such as doors or windows, placed under rugs, located near heat sources, or attached by nails or staples. Check decorations for certification labels. Most decorations that do not include a certification label have not yet been tested for safety. Stay in the kitchen when something is cooking. Unattended cooking equipment is the lead cause of home cooking fires. Finally, turn off, unplug, and extinguish all decorations when going to sleep or leaving the house. Unattended candles are the cause of 1 in 5 candle fires, and half of home fire deaths occur between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. From Polk County Fire Rescue, we hope you have a safe and happy holiday season.
For any technology student, a chance to visit the Google campus in California can be both exciting and sometimes overwhelming. For Florida Poly students Dominic Dotson and Ben Joe Charles, their experience at Google was inspiring. Here's Sherry McCullough to tell us more.
Florida Polytechnic University students Ben Joe Charles and Dominic Dotson recently attended the American Physical Society Bridge Program and National Mentoring Community Conference held at Google's campus in California. While there, they presented research posters which focused on the ability of dolomites to store thermochemical energy. Dominic Dotson, a Lakeland native, tells us how his experience was new for him.
The whole experience was really new to me. Going to California, I've never flown before, so that was a big experience. Being in California itself was very diverse and different, especially just the conference itself. Being a mechanical engineering student, they're all physics there, so it's kind of a bit of a, I don't want to say culture shock, but a very different atmosphere. So you're surrounded around physics students and faculty, and you kind of take in a lot more being in a different environment.
For Ben Joe Charles, this experience took him out of his comfort zone, but it helped him build significant confidence for future presentations.
As my first experience presenting outside of Florida Polytechnic University, I felt very nervous at first. However, after presenting to some of the students there and some of the faculties and industrial professionals, I felt very confident in my project and myself.
At the conference, there were a variety of different workshops that students could attend. For Dominic, attending these workshops motivated him towards his next goal.
Yeah, so this conference really pushed me into graduate school. There were a bunch of talks on workshops for going to graduate school, the different directions you can go after graduate school. There are companies there where they don't want undergraduate students, they want PhDs and master's students. So it was a very big eye-opener of, if you want to go this direction, you really want to focus on grad school.
As Dominic Dotson and Ben Joe Turles continue their research, they hope that one day their hard work will result in a better environment.
The goal is to allow the phosphate industry to have some kind of use for the dolomite as they're mining for phosphate to use for creating fertilizers. So by using that dolomite to capture CO2, they can both minimize the effect of CO2 in the atmosphere while also using it to reclaim the mines by storing the carbonate.
Florida Polytechnic University hopes to continue a great relationship with the American Physical Society Bridge Program and National Mentoring Community Conference. By presenting their research at the conference, this enables Florida Poly to be recognized as an institution on the national map.
Well, that's pretty cool. You know, the opportunity to get to go to a place like that, doesn't happen often.
No, and they, got to experience something most people don't. I mean, I know I've done some research on Google and their work culture and what they do, and, I would like to come out there, that's pretty cool.
Take me next time. And now it's time for sports with Coach Neal.
Hey, thanks guys. I want to remind everyone to check out the PGTV listings for weekly airings of Sports Central. When you tune in, you'll see a full hour of featured guests, athlete spotlights, and so much more. You can also tune into the radio version of Sports Central every week on Talk 96.7 or Talk 1430 WLKF, Tuesday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. and Thursdays from 5 to 6 p.m. Now let's get to your Polk County sports news. Well, the Lakeland Dreadnoughts went into the Class 7A State Football Championship game last Friday night with a state title and another undefeated season on the line. The Knots were sporting a perfect 14-0 record, and they were determined to keep that perfect season and win over St. Thomas Aquinas. This is actually the 6th time these teams have met in a state championship game. Coach Bill Castle is now a remarkable 432-89 in his career, including 7 state titles and 2 national titles. There will be a championship celebration on Monday, December 17th at Bryant Stadium from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. The players will be recognized, Coach Castle will be speaking, and highlights will be shown on the Dreadnought Jumbotron. All from the public are welcome. Don't forget the Lakeland Magic and the Florida Tropics have both started their 2018-2019 campaigns at the RP Funding Center. Go to rpfundingcenter.com for schedules and ticket options. As always, go to visitcentralflorida.org for more information on events going on in Polk County. Back to you guys.
All right, Neal, thanks for the sports report, and thank you everyone for tuning in.
Remember to tune in again next week for another installment of PGTV News. We'll see you next time.